Welcome to CKLA, Unit 5, Lesson 2, Skills. Today our learning targets or our I can statements. I can read words with the O spelling. It's going to say this week. I can sort words with different sounds. Now you have also learned that the O, as in ah, and fox, box, and mom. So we really looked at that O, that short O sound. Now, finally, you have already learned O as in O, in no, so, and go. So we've touched on the short O and the long O. Now today you will look at the O, which represents another sound. It's going to say Now the vowel sound in this word is sun. It's so your O here is making that sound. Now your is going to be in the middle of a word, which is very similar to the other sounds that O makes that we have looked at. Let's practice reading some words with the O spelling for cover, mother, one, brother, month. You are going to pause the video and take out the word sort that is in your packet. Your word sort will be workbook page 2.1. It's page 3 in your packet. Now here you're going to be sorting the words in the box based on their sound. So you're going to have the spelled with a U and the spelled with an O. So pause the video and take out workbook page 3. Now you can see that your words in the box, and we're going to go through and read these together. We're going to read them going across. Rush, trust, bunch, sun, month, ugly, mother, until, truck, unkind, money, front. So all of your words have the sound. Now you're going to write them according to the vowel that makes the sound. So all of the ones that have a U in them making the sound, you're going to put under the column with the word bug. And then all of the words with the sound made with an O, you're going to put under the column with the example other. When you're finished with workbook page 2.1, after you have sorted your words with the sound, you're going to look at workbook page 2.2, which is page 5 in your packet. So you can pause the video now if you need to and look for workbook page 2.2, which is page 5 in your packet. Now, on workbook page 5, you are going to be filling in the blank with words with those sounds. So you're going to read the words completely first, read each word in the box with the sound, and then you're going to be putting these into the blanks. So you're using those words that you just sorted and making them fluent in the sentence. You can pause the video and then unpause it when you are finished. Now you have learned a lot about sounding out words. You are now ready to start reading words with tricky spellings and even spellings that you have not yet learned. So we're going to start putting all of these combinations of sounds into action. So all these things that we have kind of discussed, we're going to be using them in sentences. Now you're going to come across words that you'll have to sound out on your own. So you know how that O, like sometimes there's all those different ways to make those sounds. You'll have to use your very best skills, such as thinking about tricky spellings and chunking syllables to sound out words. So this is you becoming a decoder. You're decoding the words. You should use context clues to see if the word that you have sounded out makes sense in the sentence in which that it is used. So when you go back on the last assignment, workbook page 2.2, reread what you've written to fill in the blanks. If the context clues don't show that it makes sense, then if it doesn't make sense to you, then it probably wouldn't make sense to me. So you're probably picking the wrong answers. You using those context clues is you becoming a better reader. You're decoding. So look back through workbook page 2.2, workbook page 5 that you just did, and make sure that you're decoding those sentences and reading those words. And it does make sense with the context clues. Okay, tonight for homework, you are going to be reading and answering questions on the story, The Beginning. Now, we are starting a new unit in skills, so you guys have a new reader that you'll be using. So if you are to access this reader on Amplify, it's on your Amplify app in the library, and the title of the book, so if you go to the table of contents, the title of the book is Sir Gus. Now we're reading a section of Sir Gus. We're reading one of those chapters titled The Beginning. Now, if you want to take it out while we're looking at it, we're going to do a little bit of pre-thinking before you do this for homework tonight. So if you want to take it out of your packet, it's workbook page 7 and 8. It says 2.3 at the top. Now your questions are workbook page 9. They say 2.4 at the top. Okay, so The Beginning. Now look at the front cover of your new reader, Sir Gus. This reader is about a knight named Sir Gus. So think about knights, what you know about knights. A knight is the type of soldier who lived long ago during a period called the Middle Ages. This time in history took place in Europe before Columbus discovered North America and the Pilgrims traveled to America. So this is a long time ago before the Pilgrims. Knights were often soldiers for specific kings and helped kings defend their kingdoms. The term sir was used to refer to knights in the Middle Ages who had earned a certain distinction or honor in serving their king. So they were those special soldiers. Now, if you use your Amplify app and look in the table of contents and find the page on which Sir Gus and his stuff begins. Now, this section has illustrations of things from the Middle Ages as referred to as medieval times, a period of time when there were kings, knights, and queens. So you'll see some of these different pictures to kind of get your brain activated on these medieval times. Knights really did exist. However, in fairy tale stories, knights are fictional characters who often fight dragons and have to break magic spells. This reader, Sir Gus, is fictional. So it is a fake story. And even though knights did exist in a fictional story, they're exaggerated. They're fighting things that are fiction or fake. Now let's take a look at these pictures in the story. Since knights were in charge of protecting others from their enemies, they needed weapons to help them do so. Now, some of these weapons were a lance, which this is a lance. It's a long pole that knights would usually hold on while on horseback. A shield, these were really heavy. A knight would carry a shield in front of his body. This would protect him from his opponent. A pointed or sharp weapon is a spear. This word can be used as a noun or a verb. So the actual using the spear, you are spearing the knight. A sword. This weapon was also used by knights to fight their enemies. Now, armor, this is very similar to what a knight's armor would look like. Very heavy. It's made of metal. Knights wore armor to protect themselves. So this was like their way of protecting themselves from the other weapons, the weapons of the enemy. A castle was a large place where kings and queens lived. There were thick walls used in the castle to protect their enemies. So they were often protecting the king or queen in their castle. Fears, you'll see the word fears. Fears are things people are afraid of, like spiders or the dark. So you're going to talk about during the medieval times, things that people were afraid of, their fears. Now, before we read, let's read some of these words to kind of refresh our memory on these sounds. The sound, we have from and of. Now, in your E column with EA, see, peaceful, feasts, and fears. Some vocabulary words that you will read in the story. You've got odd. Odd means different. Like this is a shark with horse legs. Definitely not the normal. Odd is the opposite of normal. Even odd numbers, they don't have a partner. They don't have an equal group. Faint. If you faint, you may pass out, see stars. Absent-minded, you're a little bit on the forgetful side. Sir Gus always served him well. This is a term that you're going to hear referred to when you're referring to someone as serving you well. They're honoring you. They're honest. They're trustworthy. They're going to serve their king or queen honorably. Well known. That means people see, like they see it, they know it, they recognize that person. They're well known. Okay, you have workbook page 2.3 and 2.4, which are page 7 and 9 in your packet. You're going to read the beginning. I would practice reading it aloud to someone. I would practice reading it to myself. I would read it 3 or 4 times before you begin to answer the questions. Now, when you answer the questions on your homework, page 9, you're going to answer them in complete sentences. So look for the answer in the passage using text evidence and respond with a complete sentence. So for example, number 1, why are people of King Alfred's land happy with King Alfred as their king? You would begin that response or your answer as, the people were happy with their king because, and you would write that in a complete sentence. So you would look for words in the passage that describe how people felt and respond to that question in a complete sentence. And remember, go back and reread your responses and make sure they make sense. Now, our I can statements or learning targets, I can read words with the O spelling of I can sort words with different sounds, and I can ask and answer questions about key details in the story at the beginning. Now, this will be mastered once you do your homework. Have a great day.